Wait. I have my passport right here. Just give me a second. I just need to find
Sir, I need an answer right now. Ma'am, the line is backing up.
Yeah.
There are literally 200 people behind you. Your bag is 5 kilos over the limit. Are you checking this all the way through to your final destination, or do you need to step aside and repack? We have a flight to board in exactly 40 minutes.
I, the English, I know the words. I swear I know the vocabulary for this. My brain is completely empty right now. Everything is just static. Okay, breaking character. Phew. Just acting that out made my heart rate spike, honestly. My palms are genuinely sweating right now.
It is genuinely terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that deer in the headlights feeling is completely universal.
Yeah.
It really does not matter how many flashcards you've memorized.
Have you ever felt that exact panic? I'm talking to you, the listener, right now. Picture it. You study, you practice, you listen to English lessons, you know the vocabulary perfectly in your head when you're sitting safely at home, on your comfortable couch with a cup of tea.
In a safe environment.
Exactly. But the absolute second you are under pressure at a massive international airport with hundreds of exhausted travelers behind you and an impatient check-in agent staring you down, your brain just goes blank. Like someone literally unplugs the router in your mind. All the English just drains out of your ears.
What's fascinating here is the actual biology and psychology behind that exact freeze response.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is not a failure of your intelligence or your language skills at all.
It's not.
No, not at all. When our stress levels spike, which happens the literal moment we enter an airport, our bodies release a massive flood of cortisol. This stress hormone literally forces our brains to shift resources away from complex cognitive tasks.
Like translating and speaking a second language.
Exactly. It redirects all that energy toward basic survival mechanisms.
Wait, really? So my brain is essentially treating the check-in agent like a hungry bear.
Pretty much. The airport environment is basically perfectly designed by accident to trigger our fight-or-flight response. Think about it.
Yeah, the chaos.
The architecture is massive and disorienting. The fluorescent lights are harsh. There are constant, loud, overlapping announcements in multiple languages. The visual noise of the departure boards is just overwhelming.
And the stakes feel incredibly high, because if you mess up, you might miss your flight and ruin your trip, which costs a lot of money.
Right. Your brain is so busy processing all of this threat data that the language center, your Broca's area, just shuts down. You literally lose access to the English you already know.
Okay, well, that makes me feel so much better about every time I have completely embarrassed myself at Terminal 4. And that biological reality is exactly why we are doing things completely differently today on this deep dive. Today is all about practical, real-world survival.
Survival English, I love it.
So welcome in, everyone. Our mission today is highly specific. We are going to walk with you through the ultimate test of your English skills. We're going on a continuous, uninterrupted journey, starting from the very moment you step out of your taxi at the airport doors, all the way to grabbing a taxi at your final destination in a whole new country.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we are definitely not going to be giving you a boring theoretical textbook lecture today. You won't hear us lecturing you about the past participle or diagramming sentences or discussing the present perfect continuous tense.
Thank goodness for that.
Right. We are throwing the traditional grammar books completely out the window. This is about equipping you with real, natural English that actually works instinctively when your heart is pounding and you have 10 seconds to respond.
We want to bypass that cognitive freeze entirely. And to do that, let's unpack how this journey is going to work, because this isn't just us talking at you for an hour. This deep dive is highly interactive.
Yes, very interactive.
Here are the rules for today. As we move through this airport adventure, from the check-in desk to the airplane cabin, we are going to pause every few minutes, and we are going to ask you, the listener, to actually formulate the answer and speak out loud.
Yes, wherever you are right now, whether you are driving in your car or making breakfast in your kitchen or walking the dog, we want you to practice pushing past the fear.
Just speak it right into the air.
Exactly. We want you to mentally construct the phrase and then physically speak it out loud. We are going to build that neural pathway right now. We've got your back. You've totally got this.
It's all about building that muscle memory. When you practice these natural lifesaver phrases out loud in a low-stakes environment like your living room, they get hardwired into your brain. They become automatic.
So they are right there waiting for you, ready to deploy when that high-stakes moment arrives at the counter.
Exactly. We are turning these phrases into reflexes. So grab your passport, Double-check your digital boarding pass, take a deep breath, and let's step through those automatic sliding glass doors into the departure hall.
Ah, the airport smell.
Yeah, the blast of air conditioning hits you. The smell of cheap coffee and expensive duty-free perfume mixes together. You hear the rolling wheels of 1,000 suitcases clicking over the tile floor. Every grand adventure starts with finding the front door, or, in our case, simply finding the check-in desk without wandering into a restricted staff area.
The departure hall in a major international hub like Heathrow or JFK can be overwhelmingly massive.
Eh.
Just finding the correct airline counter is your very first challenge.
Right. So let's set the first scene. I am our brave, slightly anxious traveler.
Mm.
I've just walked in. I am wheeling my very heavy suitcase, and I am completely, utterly lost.
We've all been there.
I look around and I see someone wearing a high-visibility vest or an airport uniform. I walk up to them, and my absolute first instinct, based on what I learned in my basic English classes, is to just say, "Where is check-in?"
Okay, I have to jump in and stop you right there.
What? Wait, is it wrong? Because structurally, "where is check-in" is a perfectly correct English sentence. It has a question word, a verb, and a noun. It is flawless textbook grammar.
It is grammatically correct, absolutely. I cannot fault the grammar. And let's be very clear here, nobody is going to misunderstand you. They will point you to the check-in desks.
Right.
But it sounds a bit, well, like a robot reading a map.
Oh,
Yeah, or, depending on your tone, it can sound quite aggressive. In English-speaking cultures, especially in public spaces or customer service situations, we have this deeply ingrained cultural habit of softening our questions. When you just demand information with a direct "where is," it can catch people off guard. It feels abrupt.
I see what you mean. It's too direct. It almost feels like an interrogation, like a police officer asking, "Where is the money?"
That is a great comparison. It strips away all the social pleasantries.
Yeah.
So a much more natural approach, the way a native speaker would typically ask for directions in a crowded space, is to cushion the question. You want to wrap it in a little bit of politeness.
Okay, so what would that sound like?
You can say something like, "Excuse me, do you know which way the check-in desks are?"
Excuse me, do you know which way the check-in desks are? Oh, I like that a lot. It has a totally different rhythm to it.
It does. Let's break down why it works so much better psychologically. By starting with, excuse me, you are politely acknowledging that you are interrupting their day. It shows respect for their time.
Right, it's a social buffer.
Exactly. And then, using "do you know which way" completely takes the pressure off. It softens the demand into a simple, optional request for help. People are psychologically much more willing to help when they feel like they're doing you a favor rather than fulfilling a direct order.
That makes total sense. But let me push back for a second. If I am stressed, carrying my heavy bags, that feels like a lot of words to remember. Do you know which way? Isn't there a risk I might stumble over that?
It is a few more words, but think of these extra words as bubble wrap for your sentence.
Double wrap. I love that.
Yeah, the core message is still the same. You need to find the desk. But the bubble wrap just cushions the impact when the sentence lands on the other person.
Yeah.
If "do you know which way" feels too long, you can just use the core softer phrase, "which way to the check-in desks?" But always, always start with, "Excuse me."
Bubble wrap for your sentence. I love that metaphor. We are cushioning our requests. Okay, so I use my bubble wrap. I say, "Excuse me, do you know which way the check-in desks are?" The nice worker points me to the left. I follow their directions. I navigate through the maze of tents of barriers, and I have finally arrived at the counter. It's my turn.
Excellent. I will play the airline check-in agent.
Okay.
You slide your passport across the counter. I'm typing away aggressively on my keyboard, looking at my screen, printing your luggage tags. I look up at you and ask a very standard question. Would you prefer an aisle or a window seat?
And I am so thrilled. My confidence is soaring because I actually understood the question perfectly. So I enthusiastically and quickly reply, "I want window seat." Or maybe just "give me window seat."
Oof. Okay, I'm wincing a little bit here.
Why the pained expression? It gets the point across perfectly. I want the window. I communicated my desire.
This raises a really important distinction, which is the difference between simply being understood and being socially appropriate. "Give me" is an absolute command. It is what you say when you're commanding a dog to drop a toy.
Oh, wow.
Or, if you are the villain in an action movie holding a bank hostage, "Give me the money." It is an assertion of dominance. It is absolutely not how you speak to a fellow human being who currently holds the immense power to either upgrade you to extra legroom or put you in the very last row directly next to the lavatory.
Okay, fair enough. I definitely do not want to be near the bathroom for an 8-hour flight. My instinct was to use the imperative because it's the fastest way to translate my thought.
Mm.
I want or give me. So how do I fix it? How do I build a sentence that gets me my window seat without sounding like a bank robber, but also without overcomplicating the grammar?
The absolute golden hack for natural, polite English, and we were going to return to this specific structure a lot today because it's so powerful, is the phrase, could I get?
Could I get?
Right, so instead of saying, give me a window seat or I want a window seat, you simply ask, could I get a window seat, please?
Can I get a window seat, please? Wow, that feels completely different. It changes the entire energy and power dynamic of the interaction.
It really does. It turns a harsh demand into a collaborative, polite request. You are asking if it is possible for them to provide it for you.
Yeah.
And could I get is incredibly versatile. It is the skeleton key of spoken English. You can use it in restaurants, at hotel front desks, in retail stores, buying train tickets. I mean, it is a total lifesaver.
That is such a good tip. It takes away the cognitive load of trying to invent a new polite sentence structure for every single interaction. Okay, so I've politely requested my window seat and the agent nods. But then disaster strikes. We hit the true terror of the check-in desk, the overweight bag scenario.
Oh, the dreaded overweight bag. Okay, I will be the agent again. You hoist your massive suitcase onto the metal belt. I look at the digital scale. The numbers climb, and then they flash red. 25 kilos. The limit is 20. I look back at you, my face completely blank, and I say, I'm sorry, your bag is overweight.
Panic. Absolute heart-stopping panic. My mind immediately races. How much is the penalty fee? Can I afford this? Will I miss the flight if I have to repack? Do I have to throw my clothes in the trash?
And this is exactly the moment where keeping your cool is absolutely vital. If you freak out, the agent is going to become defensive. First of all, let's introduce a fantastic, highly natural English phrase designed specifically for this exact moment
Yeah.
to defuse the bomb.
What is it?
No worries.
Oh, no worries. I hear native speakers say that all the time. It's such a casual, almost surfer dude kind of phrase.
It is incredibly common, and it serves a huge psychological purpose. When the agent tells you there is a problem, like a heavy bag, they are bracing themselves for you to get angry. They get yelled at by stressed travelers all day long.
That sounds like a terrible job, honestly.
It is. So when you immediately say, no worries, it instantly diffuses the tension in the air. It sends a clear signal to the agent. It says, I am not going to yell at you. I am not going to have a dramatic meltdown. I understand this is just a policy, and I am ready to calmly solve the problem with you.
That is fascinating. So it's not really about the literal meaning of the words, it's an emotional cue. But let me ask you, is no worries too informal for an airport? Shouldn't I say something more formal like, I apologize for the inconvenience?
I apologize for the inconvenience. Sounds like an automated email from a corporation. It's just too stiff. No worries hits the perfect note of casual competence. It lowers their defensive walls immediately.
Okay, so I take a breath, I look at the agent, and I say, no worries. But now I actually have to solve the physical problem of the heavy bag. I do not want to pay a $50 fee, so I decide I need to open my suitcase, take out my heavy winter jacket, and just wear it on the plane. Which brings us to our very first speaking challenge.
Yes. Listeners, this is your moment. It is time to put everything into practice.
Okay, picture the scene. You are standing at the busy counter. The agent is waiting. Your bag is too heavy. You want to quickly open your bag right there on the scale and take a heavy jacket out. Think about how you would ask this naturally. We talked about softening requests. We talked about using our skeleton key phrase.
Right, think about the bubble wrap.
Exactly. If you are listening right now, try to formulate how you would ask this in your head before the expert gives the answer. Speak it out loud. Take a second. What do you say?
Well, wait just a moment.
All right, you've got your sentence. Let's see how close you got. What is the natural native speaker fix for this moment?
A native speaker in this high-pressure situation would likely look at the agent and say, can I take something out real quick?
Can I take something out real quick? Okay, let's break that down. Notice that we are immediately deploying that same magical structure we just learned 5 minutes ago. Could I?
Exactly. We are reusing the framework. You don't need to invent new grammar. You just plug new vocabulary into the could I machine. Could I take something out?
And what about that ending? Real quick, why not just say, could I take something out?
You absolutely could just say, could I take something out? But adding real quick at the end is a brilliant natural empathy marker.
An empathy marker.
Yeah, it acknowledges the context. The agent has a line of angry people waiting. By saying real quick, you are signaling to the agent that you respect their time, and you promise you aren't going to spend 10 minutes folding your underwear on the counter. It gives them the reassurance they need to say, sure, go ahead.
That is such a subtle but powerful social tool. Okay, let's lock this into our muscle memory. Listeners, we are going to say it together. Repeat it out loud with confidence. Could I take something out real
Say
quick?
it one more time, feeling the rhythm. Could I take something out real quick?
Perfect. So, I furiously unzip my bag, I yank out my heavy winter coat, I shove the bag back together, and I put the coat on. I am now sweating profusely under the fluorescent lights, but the scale turns green. The bag is accepted.
Victory.
Yes. The agent smiles, hands me my boarding pass and my passport, and points me toward the departure gates. But my friends, the stress is not over. Not by a long shot. Because now we have to face the ultimate gauntlet. Security screening.
Ah, yes. The absolute highest stress zone in the entire airport ecosystem.
I always compare airport security to a really high-stakes, terrifying game of Simon Says, except every single person playing is angry. You don't actually know the rules because they change at every airport, and if you lose, you get detained.
That is a remarkably accurate and visceral analogy. It is a gauntlet of rapidly barked instructions, and the agents are prioritizing speed and compliance above all else. They do not care about politeness here.
So let's role-play this. As the security officer, give me the typical commands, bark them at me like I'm moving too slow.
Next, step forward. Laptops out of your bags. Shoes off. Belts off. No liquids. Step through the scanner. Sir, please empty your pockets. Step to the side.
Oh my gosh, just hearing that makes my chest tight. It is so overwhelming. The volume, the speed, the overlapping voices. What is the language strategy here? How do I politely ask them to slow down?
Here is the incredibly counterintuitive secret about navigating security in an English-speaking airport. You actually don't need to speak very much at all. In fact, trying to have a polite conversation will only slow things down and annoy them.
Wait, really? So all that polite bubble wrap we just learned, we just throw it out?
In this specific zone, yes. The focus here shifts entirely from speaking to listening and decoding. You want to tune out the noise and listen aggressively for keywords. You are listening for nouns.
Just the nouns.
Right. Laptops, shoes, belts, pockets, and liquids. If you hear shoes, you take them off. If you hear laptops, you pull it out.
But wait, what if they point at me, give me a rapid fire instruction, and I just completely missed it? Like maybe their accent was thick or it was too loud, and I have absolutely no idea what they want me to do. My instinct is to just smile, nod, say, yes, okay, and hope for the best.
Do not do that. That is the absolute worst thing you can do.
Why? It's polite.
The smile and nod trap is dangerous here. If a security officer tells you to stand on the yellow footprints and wave your arms, and you just smile, say yes, and walk straight toward them, they perceive that as non-compliance or suspicious behavior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is exactly how you get pulled aside for an invasive pat-down or an aggressive bag search. They need you to follow the specific instruction.
Okay, wow. So smiling and nodding is a threat trigger. If I don't understand, how do I stop the process safely?
This is where you need a short, sharp lifesaver phrase. You need to confidently interrupt their flow and say, sorry, could you repeat that?
Sorry, could you repeat that? It is so simple, but it feels scary to interrupt them.
It is empowering. By saying, sorry, could you repeat that? You are doing two things. First, sorry shows you aren't being defiant. Second, it shifts the burden of communication entirely back onto them.
And they usually understand.
Usually when they hear this, they will instantly realize there is a language barrier. They will adapt. They will speak slower, or far more likely, they will just use a physical hand gesture to show you what they want, like pointing to your belt or miming taking off a jacket.
Sorry, could you repeat that? It's like pulling the emergency brake on a runaway train. Okay, I use the phrase, they point to my watch, I take it off, I walk through the scanner, and it doesn't beep. We made it through. We didn't get arrested. Our shoes are back on our feet, and our laptops are back in our bags.
You survived the highest adrenaline portion of the journey.
Which means it is time to transition into the next phase of our journey. We've survived the noise of security, but now we must face the silent, intimidating judges at departure immigration before we can finally dive into the glorious, chaotic freedom of the departure lounge.
Immigration, or passport control, is a completely different kind of psychological pressure. The security agents were loud, rushed, and kinetic. Immigration officers are quiet, slow, deliberate, and highly analytical.
They hold the rubber stamps. They literally have the power to stop your trip in its tracks. So let's step up to the line. I wait behind the red line painted on the floor. I'm called forward. I step up to the high glass booth. I slide my passport and my boarding pass under the little gap in the glass.
Okay, I will be the officer. I take your passport. I don't smile. I
Wow.
look at your photo. Then I look intensely at your face to compare. I type something slowly into my computer. Then I look back at you and ask in a flat tone, purpose of travel.
And as the nervous traveler, standing there sweating in my winter coat, I want to prove that I am a good, legitimate tourist. I want to show off my English. So I smile brightly and say, I go to holiday.
Okay, let's freeze time right there. I go to holiday. It gets the basic idea across, but it's very textbook, a little disjointed, and honestly, slightly awkward to a native ear.
It feels incredibly clunky coming out of my mouth. But wait, why is it wrong? Holiday's the right word, isn't it?
In British English, holiday is perfect. In American English, we usually say vacation. But the verb structure I go to implies a routine action, like I go to work every day. It doesn't quite fit the present moment.
So how do we fix it so I sound natural and confident?
The most natural, effortless way to answer this question is simply to say, I'm here on vacation, or even shorter, just traveling.
I'm here on vacation or just traveling? I noticed you said even shorter. That feels like an important clue for immigration interactions.
It is a vital strategy. When it comes to interacting with border control or immigration officers, less is absolutely universally more.
Why is that? Shouldn't I be friendly and conversational to show I have nothing to hide?
No, you have to understand the bureaucratic psychology at play here. These officers are tasked with processing thousands of people securely and efficiently. They do not want to hear your life story.
So no chatting about my hotel views.
Definitely not. They are not trying to make a new best friend. They are mentally ticking boxes on a checklist. Are you a tourist? Yes. Are you a threat? No. Move along. When you give short, direct answers like, just traveling, you fit perfectly into their expected script. You make their job easy.
I see. If I start rambling, I disrupt the script.
Exactly. Give the shortest, most direct answer possible that remains polite.
Okay, so I look him in the eye, I keep a straight face, and I say, just traveling. He gives a single nod, stamps my passport with a satisfying thump, and slides it back to me. I'm officially through the gauntlet, the automatic doors open, and I step into the duty-free zone. The lights are warm, there's music playing, and I am surrounded by giant Toblerone chocolate bars. But before I can shop, I need to know where I am actually going.
The classic airport navigational challenge. You're standing at a vast terminal looking up at a giant glowing departure board with hundreds of flashing yellow flight numbers and destinations.
I find my flight number, but the gate information just says Zone C. I need help. I see an airport information worker. Now, I remember our lesson from the check-in desk. I remember the bubble wrap. So instead of just walking up and barking, where is gate 24? I'm going to use that natural cushion phrasing. I walk up and say, excuse me, which way is gate 24?
Brilliant. Excuse me, which way is gate 24? It is polite, it is highly natural, and using which way usually prompts the person to physically point you in the right direction, which is incredibly helpful if the airport layout is confusing.
I am feeling like a natural English pro. But wait, as I am walking confidently towards the signs for gate 24, a chime echoes through the terminal. I hear an announcement over the loudspeaker. I glance up at a smaller departure screen. Next to my flight number, the text has suddenly changed from green to flashing red. Okay, plot twist. My stomach drops. What is happening?
Look closely, there's a specific red word next to your flight. This is where we need to explain a crucial vocabulary-saving distinction that causes a lot of unnecessary panic. Does the red text say delayed or does it say canceled?
It says delayed. But in my head, seeing the red text, I am instantly panicking, thinking the plane is broken, the pilot quit, and my trip is ruined forever.
Take a deep breath. Stop the cortisol. Delayed just means late. You are absolutely fine.
It just means late.
Yes, it is an annoyance, certainly. It is an inconvenience. But your flight still exists. The plane will still fly. You still have a seat on it, just at a later time. You don't need to do anything except wait.
Oh, thank goodness. What if it had said canceled?
If the board says canceled, that is a significantly bigger problem. That means the specific flight you are booked on is no longer happening today at all. If you see canceled, you cannot just wait at the gate. You need to immediately go find a customer service desk for your airline and talk to an agent to get rebooked onto a completely different flight.
Okay, that is a huge relief to know the difference. Canceled means take action. Delayed means take a seat. So, I am delayed. The board says my new departure time is in 90 minutes. Which brings us naturally to our next scenario. Because if I have an hour and a half to kill and I am coming down from the massive adrenaline spike of security and immigration, I need caffeine. Desperately.
A cafe is actually a fantastic place to practice your English while traveling because the conversational scripts are highly standardized and predictable anywhere in the world.
Exactly. I find a busy coffee shop near my gate. I wait in line. I get to the front. I'll play the customer. You play the barista.
Welcome. What can I get for you today?
I look up at the menu board above your head. I see what I want, and I say, I want a coffee.
And as the highly trained barista, I smile politely and say, sure thing, what size would you like?
So we communicated. I got the job done. But let me ask you, is saying I want in this scenario too rude? I feel like I hear people say it.
It is not inherently offensively rude, but it is extremely blunt. To a native speaker's ear, it sounds a bit like how a toddler speaks. I want a toy. I want juice. I want candy. In a commercial service setting, adults in English-speaking cultures tend to soften their transactions.
It's the bubble wrap again. So we are back to our magic phrase from the check-in desk.
Exactly. The skeleton key strikes again. Can I get a? Or could I get a? Is the ultimate, undisputed, natural English hack for ordering literally anything. Food, drinks, train tickets, museum passes, extra napkins.
Which means it is time for our second interactive speaking challenge.
Listeners, gear up. Clear your throats.
Picture the environment. You are standing at the airport cafe counter. You are exhausted from being delayed. You hear the espresso machines hissing. You need a large latte to survive the next few hours. Think about how to ask for it naturally, using that magic skeleton key hack we just talked about. Do not just say, I want. How do you build the sentence? If you're listening, formulate it in your mind and then speak it out loud right now. Take a moment.
We're listening.
All right, you've placed your order. Let's hear the perfectly natural fix from our expert.
A native speaker would step up to the counter, make eye contact, and say, can I get a large latte, please?
Can I get a large latte, please? It flows so perfectly. It's so smooth. There's no friction in that sentence.
It creates instant rapport. Let's repeat it so our listeners can lock it in. Say it with us, out loud, wherever you are. Can I get a large latte, please?
Beautiful. You pay for your coffee, you sit by the giant glass windows, and you watch the planes take off. Finally, the loudspeaker chimes again. Your flight is boarding. You gather your things. It is time to transition from the terminal to the aircraft.
This transition is fascinating from a sociological perspective. Moving from the massive, sprawling airport terminal into the tiny, enclosed metal tube of an airplane changes the rules of engagement completely. The physical space shrinks dramatically. You are suddenly going to be sitting literally 6 inches away from complete strangers for the next 8 hours. Because of that forced physical intimacy, your English actually needs to become much more polite, much more indirect, and much more careful.
That makes total sense. You absolutely cannot afford to make enemies at 30,000 feet. There is nowhere to hide. So, let's explore this shift in our first onboard scenario, boarding and finding the seat.
You scan your boarding pass, walk down the jet bridge, and step onto the plane.
I am walking down the narrow aisle, dragging my heavy carry-on bag, bumping into seats as I go. I am looking at the numbers above the seats. 3031, row 32. I have a window seat. Seat 32A. But there is a problem.
There's always a problem.
There is already someone sitting in the aisle seat, seat 32C. They have their noise-canceling headphones on, they are reading a magazine, and their legs are completely blocking my path to my seat.
A very, very common occurrence. The classic aisle blocker. What do you do?
My instinct, wanting to be efficient, is to tap them on the shoulder, gesture to the window, and simply say, excuse me, move.
Oh, no, 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 no.
What? Why the shocked reaction? I said, excuse me first. I used the bubble wrap, and I need them to move so I can sit down.
You use the bubble wrap, but you wrapped it around a live grenade.
A live grenade?
Yes. If you tap a stranger on an airplane and say, move, you will create a hostile environment instantly. They might physically move, but they will glare at you for the entire 8-hour flight. You might end up in a viral internet video. It is incredibly, unapologetically aggressive.
Okay, I see your point. I don't want to start an international diplomatic incident in row 32 before we even take off. But if I can't tell them to move, how do I get to my seat? What is the natural fix here?
This is a perfect example of English indirectness.
Yeah.
You want to combine polite interruption with just enough factual information so that they realize on their own why they need to move. Say, excuse me, I think I'm in the window seat.
Excuse me, I think I'm in the window seat. Oh, that is very clever. Wait, let me analyze that. You aren't actually telling them to take any action at all. You are just stating a geographical fact about yourself and letting them do the math to figure out that they need to stand up to let you in.
Precisely. It relies on shared social understanding. And notice the brilliant little addition of the words, I think.
Yes, I wanted to ask about that. Why am I saying I think? I don't think I am in the window seat. I have my boarding pass. I know I am in the window seat. Saying I think feels almost passive-aggressive or unsure. Wouldn't that confuse someone from a culture that values direct, literal communication?
It might seem confusing logically, but socially, it is a masterpiece of politeness. By saying I think, you are mathematically lowering the certainty of your statement, which makes it feel less like an aggressive claim to territory. It gives the other person face. It allows them to say, oh, of course, let me get out of your way, rather than feeling like they were just given a direct order by a superior.
Mind blown. It is all about giving the other person the agency to solve the problem voluntarily.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
So I smile gently. I say, excuse me, I think I'm in the window seat, and they graciously stand up and step into the aisle. I squeeze past them, I sit down in my lovely window seat, and I buckle my seatbelt. We take off, we reach cruising altitude.
Mhm.
But now we enter our next scenario, the chatty passenger.
Ah, yes. The person who views a long flight as a networking event.
The seatbelt sign turns off. The person next to me puts their magazine away, turns their body toward me, smiles widely, and clearly wants to start a long conversation.
I will be your overly friendly neighbor. Hi there. Nice takeoff. So are you heading home or going on vacation?
Now, if I am feeling social and energetic, I can answer fully and chat for hours, but honestly, I am exhausted. I survived the check-in panic, the overweight bag negotiation, the security gauntlet, and a 90-minute delay. I just want to put my headphones on, watch a terrible action movie, and sleep. Very understandable.
But I don't want to be rude to this person who is going to be sitting 6 inches from me for hours. How do I handle this delicate social dance?
It is a tightrope walk. You want to acknowledge them, validate their question briefly, and then immediately signal that the conversation is permanently over without causing offense. You could say, just going on vacation, I'm so exhausted from the airport.
Just going on vacation, I'm so exhausted from the airport. That is socially brilliant.
Why do you think it works so well?
Because it fulfills the social contract. It directly answers their question, vacation, so you aren't ignoring them. But then it immediately provides a universally understood, socially acceptable excuse for why you aren't going to talk to them anymore. You are exhausted. No one can argue with exhaustion. It's not that you don't like them, it's that the airport defeated you.
Exactly. You are blaming a third party, the airport. You give a friendly, tired smile, you state your exhaustion, and then, this is the crucial physical part, you immediately physically put your headphones on or close your eyes. The verbal message matches the physical action. The message is received completely politely, and you get your peace and quiet.
Masterful. Speaking of things being received, I have slept for a few hours, and I wake up because I smell food. Which brings us to speaking to the cabin crew. The metal food cart is rolling down the narrow aisle.
I am the flight attendant. I'm moving fast, handing out trays. I get to your row, look at you, and offer the eternal universal airplane choice. Chicken or pasta.
Now, because my brain is actually retaining what we are learning on this deep dive, I immediately recall our coffee shop lesson. I know that I shouldn't just point and say I want chicken, and I definitely shouldn't just grunt the word chicken. I want to use my skeleton key. I want my natural English hack. So I look up and naturally say, "Can I get the chicken, please?"
Excellent callback. That is exactly how muscle memory works. Reusing structures builds massive confidence. You didn't have to panic and try to learn a whole new grammar rule for interacting with flight attendants. The exact same phrase that got you a latte on the ground gets you a hot chicken dinner in the air.
Can I get the chicken, please? It feels so good and automatic to use it again. They hand me my tray, I eat my dinner, they clear the trays, and then the cabin lights dim for the overnight portion of the flight. And this is when it happens. The temperature in the cabin drops to absolute Arctic levels. It gets freezing cold.
Airplanes are notorious for this, which brings us perfectly to our third interactive speaking challenge.
Yes. Listeners, tune back in. You are sitting in your window seat, you are shivering, the cold air is blasting directly onto your neck. You see a flight attendant walking quickly past your row in the dark cabin. You need to ask for a blanket to survive the night. How do you combine everything we've learned today? Getting their attention politely and asking for an item naturally. Think about it. Formulate the sentence in your mind. Say it out loud right now.
Just speak it into the room.
Okay, you're freezing. You need action. What is the perfect natural reveal?
You need to catch their attention politely first and then make the request. So you say, "Excuse me, could I get a blanket, please?"
Excuse me, could I get a blanket, please? It is a flawless combination. It uses the polite interruption bubble wrap, and our skeleton key request phrase, "Could I get?" Let's repeat it together for our listeners to practice.
Speak it into the cold air. Excuse me, could I get a blanket, please?
Perfect. The flight attendant brings you a wrapped blanket. You are warm, you've eaten, you finally fall into a deep sleep, and suddenly, bump. The wheels hit the tarmac, the engine roars in reverse. We have landed. The cabin erupts in the sound of seatbelts unclicking.
But wait, do not relax yet. Do not let your guard down.
Mm.
The journey is not over. We are now entering the final and perhaps most crucial phase, arrival and the final boss.
The final boss. I like that video game analogy. Because landing in a new country isn't the end of the game. We still have to legally enter a foreign country, prove we aren't criminals, and somehow reunite with our checked luggage.
And psychologically, the stakes feel even higher here than at departure because you are tired, you are jet-lagged, and the officials in a new country can seem much more intimidating.
So let's face it head on. We are walking off the plane, following the signs for passport control. We are standing in another massive, winding line. Finally, we step up to the desk. This is Immigration and Destination. We step up to a very stern, strict-looking border officer in a crisp uniform.
I will play the officer. I take your passport, I scan it, I look at my screen for a long time, then I look at you and ask a very standard, predictable entry question. How long are you staying?
Now, I am super nervous. My heart's pounding again. I want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am a good, organized tourist who has a legitimate plan and plenty of money. So I start over-explaining everything. I say, well, I stay 5 days in the city at the Marriott Hotel, then I go to my friend's house in the mountains for the weekend, then maybe I take a bus down to the coast if the weather is good. And my return flight back is on a Tuesday afternoon on Delta Airlines.
Stop. I'm putting my hand up. This is a classic, catastrophic mistake. Over-explaining out of sheer nervousness.
But why is that a mistake? I'm just being helpful. I'm giving them all the details so they know I'm a real tourist with a real plan.
What's fascinating here is the disconnect between how you feel and how the officer perceives you. To an immigration officer trained in behavioral analysis, over-explaining can actually seem highly suspicious. It sounds like you are trying way too hard to convince them of a story.
Oh, like I'm hiding something.
Exactly. It sounds like a rehearsed alibi. Or, practically speaking, you might accidentally mention a random detail, like going to a specific region or mentioning a friend, that legally requires them to ask you 5 more clarifying questions, delaying you further.
Ah. So by trying to be helpful, I am essentially opening a massive can of worms. I am giving them loose threads to pull on.
Exactly right. You are giving them ammunition to doubt you. The absolute golden rule of destination immigration is this: answer exactly what they ask in as few words as humanly possible without adding any unprompted context.
So to the direct question, how long are you staying? Instead of my massive itinerary, I should just say what?
Just 5 days.
Just 5 days. That's it. Just 3 words.
That's it. It is clear, it is confident, and it leaves absolutely no room for confusion or follow-up questions. Just 5 days.
Okay. I channel my inner calm. I look the officer in the eye and I say, just 5 days. The officer nods, stamps my passport, and points me through the gates. I am officially, legally in the country. The hardest part is over. Now I just need to collect my stuff and go to my hotel. We move to the baggage claim.
The carousel of destiny.
I am standing at carousel 4. The buzzer sounds, the belt starts moving. I see bags coming down the chute, going round and round. There goes a black bag, a red bag, a green duffel, another black bag.
10 minutes pass. Most of the people from your flight have grabbed their bags and left. 20 minutes pass. The carousel belt suddenly stops moving.
No! The ultimate travel plot twist. The empty carousel. Absolute panic sets in. My clothes, my expensive toothbrush, my souvenirs, everything is gone. I am in a foreign country with nothing but the clothes on my back.
It is a horrible, sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. It feels like a disaster, but you cannot panic. You have to take immediate, practical action. You see a small glass office with an airline logo on it, the baggage service desk. You walk over.
Right. I walk up to the desk. I am stressed, but I remember to take a deep breath. I need to declare the problem clearly. I say, my suitcase hasn't arrived.
That is a perfect, factual opening statement. It is direct. My suitcase hasn't arrived. But the immediate automatic next step is that the staff member will need to know what they are looking for in their system. They will look up and ask, I'm sorry to hear that. What does it look like?
And this is exactly where my brain usually freezes again. I need to be ready with quick, useful, descriptive words. If I just say, it's big and black, the agent is going to sigh because 90% of all suitcases in the world are big and black. That is entirely unhelpful.
Exactly right. If you say big and black, you are describing thousands of lost bags. You need to combine 3 specific elements to give them a mental picture: size, color, and material if possible.
Size, color, material. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, It's a large, black, hard-shell suitcase.
Perfect. Large, black, hard-shell suitcase. That instantly narrows it down and gives them a vivid visual image to enter into the global tracking system. Which brings us to our fourth and final speaking challenge of the day. Listeners, this is your final exam moment. You are at the baggage desk in a foreign country. You are tired. Your bag is missing. You need to tell the agent that your bag hasn't arrived and then immediately describe it. Let's say your bag is a medium-sized blue bag. How do you put that entire thought together naturally using the structures we just discussed? Speak it out loud. Take a breath and try.
You've got this.
You've declared your lost luggage. Let's give them the perfect native-sounding reveal.
You would step up to the desk, stay calm, and say, "Hi, my suitcase hasn't arrived. It's a medium blue bag."
Hi, my suitcase hasn't arrived. It's a medium blue bag. Short, factual, and incredibly helpful. Let's repeat that slowly together to lock it in.
"Hi, my suitcase hasn't arrived. It's a medium blue bag." Excellent. You say the phrase, you hand them your baggage claim tag,
Right.
They type it in, they find it in the system, it just missed the connection, they fill out the paperwork, and the airline promises to deliver it directly to your hotel later tonight. You have survived the final crisis. Honestly, you just want to get out of this building and breathe fresh air. Which brings us to our absolute final stop, leaving the airport.
The light at the end of the tunnel. You've walked through the green. Nothing to declare customs lane. You're standing in the chaotic arrivals hall, surrounded by people holding name signs, and you just need to get to a car.
I see the giant glass sliding doors leading to the outside world. I see an information desk right by the exit. I want to find the official taxi queue so I don't get scammed. I walk up and I ask, "Excuse me, which way to the taxi rank?"
And that is absolutely perfect. It is natural. It includes the polite, bubble wrap. It reuses the which-way structure we learned hours ago in the departure hall, and it gets you exactly the factual information you need to escape the airport as fast as possible.
We did it. We have successfully navigated an entire complex international flight journey in English from the moment we arrived to the moment we left. But before we let you go jump in your taxi, it is time for the outro and our ultimate airport survival challenge.
Yes, this is a rapid-fire quiz to test your newly built muscle memory and everything we've unpacked over the last hour.
I'm going to fire off 6 high-stress situations we've covered today. I am going to pause for just a couple of seconds, and I want you, the listener, to instantly answer out loud with the natural native phrase we practiced. No pressure, no overthinking, just let the muscle memory take over. Are you ready? Here we go.
Let's do it.
Situation number 1. You are at the check-in counter, the agent asks your preference, and you want an aisle seat. What do you politely say? Take a second.
Think about the skeleton key.
You deploy the skeleton key. Could I get an aisle seat, please?
Nailed it.
Situation number 2. You are in the terrifying, loud security line. An agent barks at you to empty your pockets, but you completely didn't hear them over the noise. What do you say to stop the process? Speak it out.
Pull the emergency brake.
You confidently say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?"
Perfect.
Situation number 3. You are waiting for a delayed flight in the terminal and you need to order a quick sandwich at a busy cafe. How do you order naturally?
Remember the act.
You ask, "Can I get a sandwich, please?"
So natural.
Situation number 4. You are finally on the plane, but someone is sitting in the aisle seat reading a book and blocking you from getting to your window seat. How do you make them move politely?
Give them agency.
You give them the agency to move by saying, "Excuse me, I think I'm in the window seat."
Nice job.
Situation number 5. You have landed, you are at destination immigration, and the strict officer asks how long you are staying. Your trip is exactly 10 days. What do you say?
Don't over-explain.
Keep it short, just 10 days.
Exactly.
Situation number 6. The absolute final boss. Your bag is completely lost. You walk up to the baggage service agent to report the problem. What is your opening line?
Factual and direct.
You clearly state, "My suitcase hasn't arrived."
Incredible. If you got even a few of those right out loud, you are doing fantastically well. You have successfully rewired how you respond to travel stress.
Seriously, a massive congratulations to you. And please remember, making mistakes along the way is totally 100% fine. Even native speakers stumble over their words, use the wrong phrasing, and get confused when they are stressed, jet-lagged, or tired at an airport.
Exactly. What matters infinitely more than perfect textbook grammar is your confidence to just open your mouth and try.
Yeah, grammar rules fade under pressure, but simple, polite structures survive. You are now completely equipped with the essential linguistic tools to handle any international airport in the English-speaking world. You have the specific phrases, and more importantly, you have the psychological strategies behind them.
You're ready.
It has been an amazing, highly practical journey today. But before we sign off and let you get back to your day, what is our final provocative thought for the listener to take with them on their next trip?
Well, the next time you fly, I want you to take a moment while you are waiting at your gate, maybe sipping that latte you just successfully ordered. Look around at all the different people swirling through the terminal, from the hurried, stressed business traveler in a suit to the confused backpacker to the families wrangling children. Realize that almost everyone in that building is operating in a second language, and we are all using these exact same simple phrases to navigate a shared space.
Wow, that's true.
It's truly amazing from a sociological standpoint how just a few polite common words, the bubble wrap, the skeleton keys in a shared language, can turn a stressful, chaotic, massive building filled with thousands of strangers into a place where we all successfully manage to help each other get exactly where we're going.
It really is an incredible, invisible global network, and you are officially, confidently a part of it. Keep practicing those phrases out loud, don't let the cortisol win, and safe travels out there.